So welcome back to another episode of Live Life by Design. Today we have another very special guest with us, Mr. Spencer Haywood.
Haywood
is in La Casa. So, and currently you live in Vegas.
I live in Vegas, but I have a place in Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, where I'm not from, but where I was raised. And my daughter just moved her practice psychology from New York City to Michigan. And so with my grandsons being there, I kind of travel a lot.
Love that.
Check out my young boys.
Yep. So what are you up to nowadays? What's keeping you busy? What's top of mind for you?
What is top of mind for me is I'm a board of directors for the NBA retired players, which I set policy and try to get health insurance. As a chairman of the board before I just became a board member, I went out and got $16 million a year for our health insurance for our retired players and our women WNBA ladies, and so that's a.
And why is that so key? Why is that, one of those things that are keeping you busy nowadays? Why
That's
is that
one
focus?
of them, but my whole process been I developed real estate. I have a mall in Salt Lake City.
Oh, cool.
And
where at in Salt Lake? So I live in Alpine.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm just 30 minutes south of Salt Lake.
South.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I do is I built a $19 million project in Detroit. This was years ago in 1991. And now that Detroit is broke out to be the new international city,
yep.
So everything is running and doing really great. So that's my thing. And the rest of it, the time that I am in Las Vegas, trying to beat the heat, which is one thing.
Not easy in the summer.
But it's a dry heat. Yeah. That's the lie we tell you guys when you come
I was just thinking,
Don't worry.
I was literally in Vegas last week, and I'm like, I don't know how you guys do it in the summer.
A dry heat.
Yeah. Well, it's a dry heat in Utah too.
Okay.
But where's your development in Salt Lake then?
It's on southwest.
Like the quadrant there? Southwest.
It's it's the Albertson. I have the Albertson supermarket.
Okay. And is it a ground up project?
It's a ground up. I did it in 1978.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I got a lot of money from the Knicks. I just wanted to invest, and so my investors said, well, look, let's build this mall in Salt Lake City. It was 4 square blocks.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I have, now we have a Walmart, which was, before it was, I can't think of the name of the other one. It was the other pharmacy, but yeah.
That's cool.
So I have income coming in these things.
When did you develop that? Because I'm a real estate guy.
1991.
1991, and you've held
No. 1978.
You bought the
ground. I bought the land, built it from the bottom up, but I'm not a developer like that. But what happened was I was trying to get a shelter for my money, and so we had a good project there. We had an Albertson, Old Boy, Big Boy.
Where did you learn about this?
I learned it from my development partners in
because
Seattle.
You know what I'm going to say next is a lot of professional athletes don't learn these principles until later.
I know, but
right.
I was always intent on trying to build something and also leveraging my income.
Love it. This is brilliant.
So,
you're speaking my language.
So I wanted to leverage my income, and and so what I did is I took my large contract from the Knicks.
So smart.
And I built that project. And then the second project was the 19 acres in Detroit, because what happened was I had my retirement benefits from the NBA, and I decided, well, you know what? I think I'll pull it all out and put it in here in Michigan, and that's what happened with that. So I've beaten the market.
Yeah,
I've beaten my retirement market because my income coming in from that project.
Well, imagine if you would have just taken your proceeds and spent them on liabilities, where you would be sitting today. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
You got tax benefit when you did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we sure did.
You got the appreciation benefit because you bought that in 1978 at a really good basis.
That's the mall in Salt Lake. Yeah.
Yep. And by the way, real estate traditionally, historically, doubles in value as long as you're buying in the right MSA every 5 years. 1978 to 2025, think of the law of compounding interest that is on Spencer's side.
Yeah.
So he was able to protect his contract by investing in real estate, gets the appreciation, gets the immediate tax benefit, and is currently, I'm assuming, harvesting a lot of cash flow.
Well, I'm harvesting some cash.
Yeah.
A lot of cash.
Yeah, tons of cash flow. Just imagine the compounding since 1978, what real estate has done.
Oh, my gosh.
In a very strong MSA such as Salt Lake City, Utah. So it's you don't wait to buy real estate. You buy real estate, and then you wait, and you allow the law of compounding interest to take effect so you can benefit from it. You have two options. Either you can pay the interest as a consumer, or you can collect the interest as a producer. So that this can be a long-standing contract.
Or I could have taken the contract and paid the taxes on the contract at that time, which was a large amount of cash flow up at the front end.
Yeah.
So it was like, whoa.
But now we have perpetual cash flow. That way, when you're out of the league, you're still collecting checks, probably even bigger than if you were actively playing in the league. So again, it's
not today.
Not today.
With them boys
not today.
Making,
but
with these guys making 60, 70
what they're making
millions
today
a year.
is insane.
Yeah.
But you were able to equalize the opportunity by investing in an income-producing asset, so that once you're done going up and down the court, your contract is still paying you today via passive income. So that's brilliant. Yeah. And then before we turned on the cameras, we were talking about something regarding the Supreme Court, and I'm not super familiar with that.
Well,
so
what happened was,
if you want to set the table there, that's great.
What happened was, when I came out of the '68 Olympic as a gold medalist, I was 19 years old. I set all records that held the most points for 44 years until Kevin Durant came in shooting threes and broke my record.
Yeah.
Which records are supposed to be broken.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's my thing to him. I'm always telling him that you got an asterisk by it. Because I was playing with twos and he was playing with threes. But
so you held it till he took it?
He took it after 44 years.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to go pro after my next year in college, where I was the outstanding college player of the year. And so what happened was, the ABA came calling, the American Basketball Association, so I signed with them as an underclassman. And I played that year as an underclassman. I was Rookie of the Year, MVP of the league, MVP of the All-Star game, and the only other player in professional basketball had those type of numbers and did that type of basketball was Wilt Chamberlain, because I averaged 30 and 20 that year as a 19-year-old. And so the NBA was saying that I was ineligible to go from the ABA to the NBA because I had 1 year of college left. And because the rule was at that time that you had to wait 4 years after your high school class had graduated before you could go into the NBA. And so I said I thought it was wrong. So I sued the NBA for the rights to play. The NBA got an injunction against me, stopping me from playing. So the case maneuvered its way all the way to the district court, and they threw me out into the snow and did all of the brutal stuff. And the district court went with the league and the NC2A and said, no, he can't break this rule. And then the case maneuvered its way all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, where we went before Justice O. Douglas and Thurgood Marshall, and everybody was there at the Supreme Court. They looked at my case and said, this case is in favor of Haywood in the case of 7-2 at the Supreme Court. So what you see in basketball today, and from Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Julius Erving, all of the players after me in 1971, they all came into the NBA early. After, like 2 years, 3 years in college, they came into the NBA. And so that ruling in itself has grown and has changed the NBA with perhaps maybe $65 billion in revenue.
That's insane.
Because we only had 14 teams, and with that number of players who are coming in now, we grew from 14 teams to the 30 teams because we had a labor force
of course.
to come in. And so that's me. Haywood versus the NBA, the U.S. Supreme Court ruling. And the league is now looking to put on it next year is the Spencer Haywood rule. I've been fighting them for the last 50 years, 55 years, so I'm putting my name on it. So
wow, that's fascinating.
That's been
it's
the thing.
Yeah, it's so interesting to discover. You know, quite often I think we take for granted where a lot of things currently sit today. Not just talking NBA, I'm just talking like
just life.
Life in general. I mean, I'm sure, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you now?
76.
76. So just think of what you were dealing with in your 20s.
21.
21,
at the Supreme Court.
And then, you know, the shade that you've been able to create for all the folks today. But quite often we tend to forget the struggle, the conflict, the blood, the sweat, the tears, the years, the grit.
Yeah.
That you folks had to go through so that we can now benefit from all this.
It was, not to cut you short, but it was Muhammad Ali, Kurt Flood, and myself was at the Supreme Court at the similar time.
Wow.
And he was there, Muhammad Ali was there because of the boxing. He didn't want to go kill some brown people.
Vietnam.
Vietnam.
Yeah.
And Kurt Flood, in the National Baseball League, had a ruling that says if you sign with the team, and he was with the St. Louis Cardinals, if you sign with me, you cannot leave when your contract was up. You couldn't go to another team. So he fought all the way to change that ruling. And then later on, Oscar Robertson fought for the NBA, the same ruling, so that we could move our players. But his case was after my case, to move the teams. You could, when your contract was up, you could go to another team. Just think, players today don't know that, all of these things took place under just a horrible time, and then the treatment that we received and how we were blackballed and all kinds of stuff. But that was part of it. You made sacrifice for the betterment of the league. You made sacrifices for the betterment of the teams and also for the players, most importantly, so they could make funds and stuff like that. I had a guy named Curtis Jones who was like a wizard in high school in basketball in Detroit, just a magnificent player. But academically, he was not strong. It wasn't his strong suit. His strong suit was basketball. But he didn't get a chance to go into the NBA because we didn't have this ruling. So he died on the vine, an addict, and just and how many players before that was going on. And Wilt Chamberlain told me, he said, when he left the University of Kansas, he went to the Harlem Globetrotters for that year. And he said to me, you could have came to the Harlem Globetrotters and then went into the NBA, and everything would be cool. You wouldn't be ostracized. I was like, well, come on, man. Sometime you got to stand up. He said, you're right, young fella. I like that.
If not you, who? If not now, when?
Right.
So let's maybe talk about the Olympics. You won gold what year?
1968.
1968.
Turbulent year.
Unpack that.
Unpack it is the turbulent year was because in 1968 we had the murder of Robert F. Kennedy.
Yep.
We had MLK, Martin Luther King, the murder, and then we had riots in all of the cities, Detroit, Newark, Los Angeles, and just riots all over for justice and so on. And they had, in Mexico City, the students were rioting, and at Kent State in the United States, students were getting shot by the National Guards and stuff like that. So we went to Mexico City under a boycott because the players that they thought was going to be on that team was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Elvin Hayes, Wes Unseld, and so on, Pete Maravich and all of those guys. But what happened was Kareem boycotted the '68 Olympics. Elvin Hayes and Wes Unseld signed a pro contract because at that time, in order to be an Olympian, you had to be an amateur.
Sure.
So they disqualified themselves. Bob Lanier and some other players didn't even show up for the tryouts. So when we got to the tryouts, they said, well, we got a freshman that we're going to let just work out with the team and play with the team because I was the MVP of the junior college rankings. So while we was there, they they saw me play and they said, oh, wow, this kid can play. And I kept thinking in my head, if I make this team, I don't have a birth certificate. I don't have a passport. Because kept pressing the idea, you got to have a passport. You're going to go to Russia right after this. We're going to Yugoslavia. We're going to go, you know. And so I kept thinking about it. And then when the selection committee came in and said, we're cutting Pete Maravich. I was like, oh, God, how could you cut Pete Maravich? Well, you're cutting Calvin Murphy from the Olympic team in '68. And we're picking Spencer Haywood. I was like, oh, I still don't have my passport and my birth certificate. So just before we embarked from New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico, they called my mother and says, where is his birth certificate? She says politely, of course I have it. It's right here in my Bible under John 21. It's written right here.
Oh, my goodness.
So they had to go down to Mississippi where I was born and take a picture and transfer my birth certificate. So that's when I was off to Russia.
And then you got your passport.
Got that passport.
I love it.
And my name was spelled badly on that passport because the midwife, she was used to delivering babies, but she wasn't a good speller.
Oh, my goodness.
So, you know, so we went down to Mexico City, and that's when Tommy Smith and John Carlos did the glove and the fist. So they kicked him out of the Olympic Village, and so we were like scared, like because me and George Foreman, we had a plan, and our plan was to just eat all of this food they got here in this commissaries with the Russians and the Nigerians and everybody. We just sit around eating food because we were young. We were the young people on the thing. We were 19, so that's so everybody would say, too. Whenever you want to find Haywood and Foreman, guess where they are? In the commissary. Yeah. So we finally won the gold medal. And I'm standing on the podium with this gold medal on my neck, and they are saying the MVP of basketball in this Olympics is Spencer Haywood. And I'm thinking, 3 years before, I was in the cotton fields of Silver City, Mississippi, picking cotton for $2 a day.
Wow.
And this could only happen in America, that kind of growth and that kind of journey. So I was standing there. After they put the gold medal on my neck, I started crying. My legs got weak. And JoJo White, who was my teammate on the Olympic team, Charlie Scott, and Bill Hoskins said, stand up like a man. So I was like, okay. Because I was a young boy, you know. So that was my experience in that '68 Olympics. It was a beautiful experience. For worldwide to feel the joy and the people that loved, you know, the Mexican fans, how they loved my game and the players and that Olympic team, because we were the original dream team because we were just playing on dreams, whereas later on these other guys came as like pros and everything else. So I take that away from Magic and Michael Jordan all the time.
You're the original dream team.
We're the original, so don't y'all just get carried away here.
A lot to unpack there. So when we're done with the Olympics, where do we go? What's next?
I went back to the University of Detroit because, again, as I was saying before, we had riots in the city. The city needed to be lifted up and rebuilt. So instead of me, I had a B average out of junior college after my freshman year. I was actually going to go and join Kareem at UCLA, and I deferred and went to the University of Detroit. And when I got to the University of Detroit, we were Al Kaline from the Tigers, Willie Horton from the Tigers. We had all of these athletes back in Detroit trying to rebuild sports in that city to lift it up again. So I was part of that. And I became the Outstanding College Player of the Year and the first team All-Americans that year was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Spencer Haywood, Calvin Murphy, Rick Mount, and the great Pete Maravich.
There you go.
And so...
Okay, and then talk to us about favorite NBA year, favorite NBA experience. Why don't we go there?
Well, I have to go with my years of playing and my first years, because I was always runner-up to MVP in the league and this and that. But I like to look at my year here with the Lakers in 1980 when I had the fall, because at that time we did not know that the drugs had permeated the NBA. And I fell into the cocaine drugs at that time. And I was married to Iman, who was later married to David Bowie, the model. We had a daughter and a granddaughter. And so I fell into that bag, and I had to get my life together. And during my recovery period, I was introduced by my former wife, Iman, to psychiatrists and psychology. And I said, well, this is not for no basketball and sports people. This is for models. Because, you're in denial. So,
right.
It's the way it works. So, and I went in there and I absorbed everything that they were putting on me and spitting out everything that I was holding in, just locking up my life and my stomach. So it gave me my 42 years now of sobriety, 42 years of with seeing and getting mental health. And I've turned so many other players in the NBA and in the NFL and other players to therapy. And my young daughter would go with me. I have 4 girls, no boys. Anyway, so my next to youngest daughter, she would go with me because she was so interested in sitting and listening through the doors, when I would go to see my psychiatrist, and she was like, I think this is what I want to be. So she went to college and became a professional. She's a psychiatrist.
That's awesome.
So I look at that as part of my health. And yesterday we were doing another show, so we were talking about the mental health that we go through and that we suppress it down because we are men and I'm not going to do this. But we have so much stuff, and so it drives us back to not necessarily drugs and alcohol, but it drives you to sex, it drives you to anything. Looking at, say, for an example, Shannon Sharp. I mean, you make bad decisions because you don't know the necessary things and necessary steps that you need to take in order to protect yourself. So in a way, it's the saddest part of my life, but it's the best part. So
isn't it crazy how that works?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, sometimes, sometimes I'm sure when you're in it, you're like, what in the world is happening to me, and how do I dig myself out of this hole?
How do I dig
myself out?
How did I get in that hole?
Yeah.
Yeah. How did I dig myself out? But with God help and special help.
If you don't mind me asking, just so I can understand the journey there. So 1980, because there was the controversy of the celebration and the ring and all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if we can unpack that, and then how long it took to get onto that road of recovery after that, just so we understand that journey.
Well, so for what happened was...
Because there was something I read, falling asleep and all that stuff.
I did. What happened was I had a binge that night before. We were in the playoffs. We were playing against Philadelphia. We had 2 games. We had clocked them here in L.A., and then I was on my way to practice from a nice night of just coked out. And I was at practice, and we stretch and lay on our backs, and so I fell asleep. So Jamal is punching me and trying to, wake up. So I woke up and I'm like, well, what happened? Who did this? Because, denial is your brand. It can't be you. It's got to be somebody else.
Yeah, no doubt.
So the team decided, well, no, we're going to, leave you at home before we go to Philadelphia for the rest of the tournament. And so that was, crucial. But I had a good friend, Dr. Vanderway, Kiki Vanderway's father, who took me into his home, and my wife and kids were back in New York. So he took me in and made sure I didn't do something stupid, like put a gun to my head and blow it away. And then Dr. Buss, Jerry from the Lakers, and David Stern, they got together and asked me, well, we have a crisis in the NBA at this time with maybe 60, 70% of the teams were using this drug. So I said, well, I need to go to a treatment and just get myself together. They said, we don't have no treatment for that in the NBA now. This is 1980, everybody was in denial. Nothing wrong with our players. They just,
swept it under the
rug. So I decided to go to Italy under their guideline and then come back to the Lakers. But when I got to Italy, I decided to stay there because my wife was, she was modeling. All of her shows was in Milan, Paris, and Rome, and I was playing in Venice. So I found my joy, and the Venetian people and the Italian people just embraced me and loved me, and at that time I would like to have a glass of wine with them, and they were like, no, senor. So it was like this beautiful protection. And then the NBA came back and said, look, we need you to go to Washington, back to the Washington Bullets at the time, before it was called the Wizards.
Yep.
So I got back to the Wizards, and I had this great comeback season. We took Boston to the brink, and then lo and behold, because I had been away from my family so much, my wife was in an automobile accident and going to a shoot in New York in a yellow cab. So somebody hit the cab, and I had to come home. I didn't have to, but I had her sister Nadia, her sister Idil, and her brother Elias. They are Somalians. We are East Africans, so they were living with us as well. And I had a young daughter, so I just decided to come home and take care of my family. And when it's all over with, I would go back to the NBA. But the NBA wasn't for me because once I took care of them, and the NBA felt that I had quit on Washington, so I had another black eye. So I just started developing the project in Detroit. And that's when I took, and Iman said to me, we don't need no prenups and all this stuff here. You take the daughter and you raise her in Detroit with your family, because that's where I'm from. My family, my brothers, my sisters, and everybody was there, and my mom. So you raise the baby in Detroit, and I'll be coming to Detroit, and you come to New York and bring her over. And so we did joint raising of our daughter, and she went to the wrong school, but hey, she went to Michigan State. No, I'm from the University of Detroit. Michigan State and Michigan, they look so snooty down at us, like, you peasants.
Yeah.
So she was like, no, I don't want to go to the University of Detroit. No, I want to go where the parties are. So that was our journey.
What ring do we have on?
This is the Hall of Fame ring here that I treasure.
2015?
Yes, I wear this ring with joy. And the closing of my speech at the Hall of Fame, they run off all your numbers and all the stuff, and then everybody, the young guys, because I was going in with Calipari. He had the University of Kentucky players and all of the formers and everybody, and they was calling off my numbers and stuff, and they were like, whoa, this guy could play. And so at the end of my speech, I said, it's not about what I did at the Supreme Court. I want you to know that I was a serious player, And then I spilled, and I said, goodbye. Thank you very much to be in this great fraternity with all of the greats. And that's where I've always wanted to be. Here's my life for you.
That's beautiful. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Now let's go, so many gems here. So let's go back to the Olympics. You won in Mexico. You took gold. We know, the whole NBA, a lot of the NBA story here from what we unpacked.
Mm-hmm.
Just your opinion on maybe like the 2004 team to then go back to the 2008 team, the redeemed team. Just maybe talk to us about some of your opinions there, just being the Olympian that you are.
Well, the 14th team, they didn't, if you don't know how.
It was in 2004, right?
Whichever one.
2004.
Yeah.
That we took.
Well, see, what
bronze.
happened was that the first team, they didn't realize they were actually showing their tattoos and stuff, had their shirts all off, like, look at us. They didn't understand the importance of America's standing, that every country want to take us out. So they went there as I'm not saying that they wasn't conscious of what was at stake, and so we slipped. And so that's when Jerry Colangelo says,
That's when he got put in charge.
yeah, and we're going to have to get Coach K. We got to have discipline.
Their
because
brand couldn't cut it, huh?
We need the military in here. So Coach K came in with military discipline.
And patriotism.
And then guess who he had to lead that? Was Kobe.
Yeah.
Because he comes from...
Kobe wasn't part of the squad till maybe a year right before
Yeah.
the Olympics.
So,
Beijing.
And so, that team was like, no one is better than America.
Right.
And that's the American pride that we needed.
So let me ask you this, Spencer. There's a quote that I love that says, it's better to have a great team than a team of greats. In 2004, we had a team of greats.
Team of greats, but...
LeBron, D. Wade, wasn't
Marbury.
Stephon Marbury. It wasn't Tim Duncan on that team. Carmelo Anthony. I mean, they were young. It's a team of greats.
Yeah.
But we didn't have a great team.
Didn't have
so
a great
maybe
team and didn't have a great leader.
Yeah, terrible leader
on the floor.
And even in the coaching staff.
Coaching staff.
So, but
I didn't say that. You said it.
I said it. Come after me.
Okay.
But just maybe you being in so many high-level teams and just understanding that dynamic, I guess, what does that quote mean to you? It's better to have a great team than a team of greats. And how do you get the greats together to perform for one holy cause that can take you to hoist the trophy?
The flag, United States of America. We are the best at everything. And we have to use that as a dignified step in the world, because we're on the world stage. So great players can look good, but they can't win if you don't have a great team. And the word always said in sports, there's no I in team.
But then Jordan says,
"There's me." What did he say?
I think, but there's an I in win, and I want to F and win, or whatever he said.
Yeah. Well, look at that team. Same thing. They had all of these great players, but they played with one purpose.
Yeah.
And Jordan led the way. Magic, Bird, all those guys. They said,
Killers. Yeah.
we got one purpose.
Yep.
We're going to win.
They took it seriously. Yeah.
Took it seriously. It's a major thing. Do you know what other countries they spend millions of dollars and all we want to do is beat the Americans.
Yeah.
Our life is changed. Countries are changed because of
So
beat
you
America.
know, the first country to beat the United States, I think I'm correct on this stat, but the first country to beat the United States of America post the Dream Team era in '92 is my little island of Puerto Rico. That's who beat them with Carlos Arroyo. Puerto Rico beat that team.
Beat that
year
team
in preparation for the Athens
then who
Olympics.
won the gold was
Argentina.
Spain, Argentina.
Argentina took gold.
Yeah.
I can't even remember who took silver.
Yeah.
Who
Well,
took silver? I can't remember. And then the United States took bronze.
Bronze, yeah.
And it might have been Greece that took silver.
Wow.
So, but crazy. But Argentina
speaking of the
smoked
Olympics
them
now,
in
speaking
the-
of the
in
Olympics,
the gold medal game.
there's a team that's still mad as hell. 1972 team.
Is that the Russia?
The Russian.
Yeah. With Doug Collins, right?
Doug Collins. Doug Collins was coached by my high school coach, who was the first black coach to coach in NC2A Division
It's
I.
the whole
Will Robinson.
time
Time
clock.
out, throw it in.
Yeah.
No, we didn't get enough time.
Yeah.
Throw it in. But listen to this. When we played against Russia, we were up by 24 points. They put all of the fans out of the arena, and they changed the clock, and
So
they were
stupid.
even.
No, I'd
So we're sitting there arguing. Hey, wait a minute! You changed the clock, and in European ball, you just pull the ball out of their hand and go play.
Oh, yeah.
And so they pulled it out, and it went and scored, and we still arguing. Oh, wait a minute! They pull it again. They won by 4.
Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough one. Who took silver?
Italy.
Italy took silver.
Yeah.
In that one, and then Argentina took gold.
Mm-hmm.
So Spencer, talk to him about the Winning Time show on HBO.
It was an award-winning show. Everybody like Magic and Kareem and Jerry West. Pat Riley wasn't so angry with it, but Westhead was like nuts about it because it was that 80 year that they covered. That's how the show kicks off, you know. And so my character was played by Wood Harris. And so they went into depth with me because I had no problem in talking about what we've been talking about all
And this is
along.
what's crazy is when you have no problem with it, they have no power over you. And that's what folks don't understand.
Hello, say that again.
When you don't care what other people think about you,
Yeah.
and when you're willing to be your authentic true self, that's the ultimate superpower. People no longer have control over you. But the longer you try to hide who you truly are as a human, the more other people can control you and move you around like a chess piece.
So my character became this person all about falling, trying to get to recovery, and it sort of like kind of dominated it a little bit because people fell in love with this character. Like, wait a minute. I mean, he's got all these flaws.
And Spencer,
He's got flaws like
Spencer,
that.
like I think about it all the time. Like I've seen, some of these biographies and autobiographies when the hero in the journey, the hero's journey, has gone through these pits of hell, if you will, and they're willing to talk about it so openly. Just the amount of love and admiration that I feel for these folks, because you see them like
You
this is
healing
who
other
you are.
people.
Yeah, and then you have the
You're giving
superpower to be able to heal
yourself,
because
you give yourself away in
because-
order to
yeah. And-
to heal yourself.
And again, I'm not saying that you went through that stuff deliberately, but I think God has his
God
purpose.
has his way.
And, those dark nights now allow you to produce, bright days for people that are currently going through the stuff that you already went through. And because you went through it, you can actually be a catalyst to help people come out of their situation.
Exactly.
So
my character was really exposed in this whole idea. Everybody else was like, Jerry West, I felt bad for Jerry during this Winning Time HBO show.
Yeah.
Because Jerry was not that crazy.
Yeah.
But he was a little bit
Yeah.
crazy, but it was not that.
Got it.
So, everything was exaggerated. So when they got to my character, they just let it all flow because I did speak with the writers, I spoke with the actor, and they were concerned, am I going to hurt you with doing this? I was like, no, this is my life. You can't shortchange it. And so they went with it. And how God worked is this. Everybody saw this show, and fell in love with it. And when it was cut at an earlier time before they went all the way through it, they said that character, Haywood, was the one. So here come the motion picture industry. It's like, we like that character. And so now they're doing the movie of my life.
Really? When does this come
From
out?
that, we got another year.
Wow.
Finishing
That's
it
awesome.
up. So from something that's supposed to have been the worst,
Yeah.
turned out to be the greatest.
And what would have happened if you would have hit it all and not? What would happen if you're not willing to tell your story? So
Nobody would have healed.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have really feel good about where I am today.
Beautiful.
I would just hit it all and like I got my own. It's my stuff. I ain't telling nobody else. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I'm too proud.
Yeah. No, ego gets in the way.
Ego,
it's a killer,
man.
and we all deal
You know
with
what
it.
ego is? Edging out God.
Yeah, edging God out. Yeah, I've heard
Yeah,
that
edging
before.
God out.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, final question for you. You've been more than generous with your time. So many takeaways, so many gems. This is awesome stuff. And remember, as we always say, knowledge is not power. It's the application of knowledge that's power. So let's figure out different ways that we can apply the newfound principles or maybe reminders that Spencer has given us to live our authentic, more true self. And if we're worried about the journey that we've been on and we try to hide who we truly are, maybe this is a nudge for us to be a little bit more authentic with ourselves and be a little bit more vulnerable. Spencer, final question for you. Any advice that you want to give us on any front, any aspect of life on living it more by design instead of just by mere happenstance or mere default? What can we do to better live our life according to design work?
Just live it according to design because we are designed perfectly. It's just that we as characters, we have the flaws. So if we keep pushing down our flaws and hiding our true self, then we don't heal from it, and no one else get the joy of healing from it through us or through me.
Beautiful. And with that said, we're going to mic drop. So thank you so much for your time.
Oh.
This has been beautiful. This has been amazing. So appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate
Much love
you,
to
brother.
you and your family.
Okay.